AJ Anthony Joshua. Wow.
199.4. London, who do you think you are? I am.
Ability. You did say something, and I'm paraphrasing here, so please correct me if I'm misinterpreting it. You said if I could kill him, I'll kill him.
Yeah.
Your old foe, Tyson Fury, today called you a classless loser for saying something like that you shouldn't say that as a boxer. Could you explain to us what you meant by that, and could you please respond to Tyson's statement?
It's my job. We fight. We're licensed to kill. I'm sure many people don't understand it, but this is what my job is, and I just enjoy what I do. Whatever happens, happens. As long as my hand's raised, that's what's important, right? Respectfully. That's just the mentality we have to have as fighters. I don't know if any other fighter thinks that way. Maybe they're a bit more tamed. But the things I watch and the way my mind works, when you're in that ring, it's a dangerous place to be, and anything can happen. And you hope your opponent leaves the ring safely, but if they don't, you know, you still have to go to bed at night knowing that you just done your job. It wasn't.
The final press conference felt like two completely different energies colliding in the same room, and that contrast is what made the atmosphere so electric. It opened on a relaxed, almost playful note.
Do you think that Jake Paul's fearlessness creates a challenge for you?
Yeah, definitely. Jake Paul creates a great challenge for me. And he's got a great mindset for sure. Great family, great brother, great person. So yeah, it definitely creates a good challenge for me. But as I said earlier, competition is really good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
AJ, you called this the ultimate barbershop fight, the ultimate plane fight. Everyone's talking about it. I love that description. I'm wondering, when you were in Valencia training, maybe back home a little bit here in Miami, are a lot of people coming up to you and saying, can you please knock this guy out? That seems to be the sentiment. Are they coming up to you and saying that?
Nah. They're respectful. People are respectful.
They are?
They're like
I saw in the video there were people there outside the press conference saying, end this man, end this man.
Yeah, you do hear it, but remember, we don't focus on
That's
the negative.
True. No, that's just a sentiment that I feel like people are saying to you.
They're just saying, good luck, do your best. You know, that's a great fight. I heard people say like, I'm not really into boxing, but I'm watching this fight. But no one's really coming up to me saying anything about Jake or they want me to knock him out. Just positive.
Jake cracked a joke about AJ supposedly tuning into someone better than him, and Joshua answered with a calm, unbothered smile. But beneath the laughter, there was a quiet tension in the air. The rivalry was already heating up.
Put on a show for the fans. Let's go to war. Men have done crazier things throughout human history. This is the modern day gladiator sport. This is what we're here to do, is f each other up, and I'm ready. I want his hardest punches. I want there to be no excuses when it's all said and done, and let's f each other.
Then Jake changed the tone. He launched the first real psychological shot, suggesting this fight could become the most damaging loss of AJ's career. He talked about nerves, timing, and strategy like he already had Joshua figured out. AJ didn't rush to respond. He let the silence settle, then delivered the coldest line of the night, calmly reminding everyone that fighters are licensed to finish opponents, and that this is simply his job.
Focus on more positive.
Exactly, that's why I'm not going to ask you about that. But Jake, do you view
push your confidence.
Absolutely. Do you view it this way? Do you view it as old guard versus new guard, that he's representing boxing and he's been tasked with ending the Jake Paul experience, and it's up to you to keep it going?
Not really, no. I mean, I think no one's done more for the sport of boxing in the past decade than myself. So I think if people really cared about boxing, they'd want me to win. But I see where the angle that they're coming from is that he's, you know, the traditional boxer, has been doing it his whole life, etc. But I think that I'm more important for the sport of boxing. And so if they actually cared about the sport, they would want me to win.
Jake answered by turning the chaos all the way up, leaning into a modern gladiator persona, and shouting about war, legacy, and risking everything. But the louder Jake became, the more composed Joshua looked in comparison. When AJ said he was carrying the weight of boxing and had been brought in to shut down the Jake Paul spectacle for the purists, it didn't sound like hype. It sounded like a mission statement. Jake fired back, claiming he's done more for boxing in the past decade than anyone else, snapping at critics and fully embracing his role as the outsider who thrives on doubt.
I was then called in to fight on Ngannou, and I knew there was a lot riding on it. And with this one, in terms of putting boxing on my back, it just seems like I'm being called in to, I don't know, save the pugilists, the purists of boxing and so on. People don't like the fact that I'm fighting Jake. Whether that concerns me or not is another question, but if we look at the people that don't want me to be here, but they want me to put an end to Jake Paul's show, I understand it, and that's why I have to carry boxing on my back with it.
AJ framed the matchup as a clash of eras. Jordan versus Iverson, tradition against rebellion. Even when the possibility of defeat was raised, he laughed it off, smiling as if the idea carried no real weight. By the end, it stopped sounding like routine trash talk. It felt like belief meeting experience, noise crashing into calm, and two opposing worlds moving toward a moment where, once the bell rings, only one man can remain standing.
Paul saying, okay, now he wants to fight you.
I just thought a brilliant opportunity, man, you know, because I understand what his audience tuning in does for me, what it does for boxing as a whole, and the ripple effect it has on the industry that I'm in. Because when Jake moves aside, boxing still benefits. I'm a pure boxer, so boxing still benefits. I just thought, what a great opportunity to perform in America just before Christmas. We had been training anyway. Everything was stacked up for it to happen, and I think it's a great date to happen on the 19th of December.
That's when the atmosphere shifts. After the press conference theatrics, the posturing, the destiny talk, the underdog narrative, the focus narrows to a quieter exchange between Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. It feels like the adults are stepping in. The microphones fade, the tempo slows, yet the confidence grows heavier. AJ speaks like a man no longer chasing moments but stacking advantages. There's no offense taken, no bruised ego, no resentment toward a YouTuber, only clarity. He understands exactly what Jake Paul represents. Momentum, reach, opportunity, and eventually the kind of wall you hit when the role keeps expanding unchecked.
It's a nasty game. You don't want to do it. You go to the gym to keep fit. As Eddie said, you can see this guy's got a bit of talent. Hey, get some gloves on. Next minute, hey, what do you want to do, some sparring? Next minute, you get carded. Next minute, you're fighting. Next minute, he's fighting Tank. Next minute, he's fighting Anthony Joshua. Boxing is just like it's a snowball effect. It just keeps rolling and getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you meet someone or you hit a wall and it all just goes. Pfft.
Eddie lays it out like a long-term strategy, treating this entire situation as an unexpected chapter no one predicted, yet one everyone is happy to profit from without hesitation. What stands out is how AJ keeps returning to the same principle. If you have the chance to end it early, you take it. Not for highlights or mercy, but because boxing doesn't run on a clock. No one is owed the distance. And when AJ mentions heading into a music camp, it's a detail Jake's supporters should pay attention to. When a heavyweight willingly puts himself through the most demanding training environment available. Not out of obligation, but out of a desire to suffer just a little more. That's not someone chasing attention. That's someone preparing for reality.
I want to work with these guys.
Sergey invited me and said, you're more than welcome to come and do some training. At first, our schedules didn't align, and then our schedules aligned, and I think it was a really good decision. It's been an eye-opener. You know, people could ask me in the future, what message could you give young kids out there? I say, work harder. If you think you're working hard, do more. And if you think you're doing enough, do more. Look, that's the only way you're gonna win. His free time, well, let's say, I don't think he's been beaten as an amateur either. Anyway, He's an Olympic gold medalist, free time, unified champion. Man, like, if you wanna win, surround yourself with winners, it's basic. And it's been a really good experience, if I'm honest.
Jake's motivation is easy to read. Money, visibility, disruption, keeping the machine running. AJ's motivation is far more unsettling. It's about progression, structure, and the quiet certainty that once you strip away the streaming hype, the influencer persona, and the carnival atmosphere, what remains is a seasoned professional facing someone who hasn't lived that life. That's why the outcome feels inevitable. Not because Jake lacks belief, he believes deeply, but because conviction eventually collides with reality. And AJ speaks like someone who already knows exactly how that collision ends.
For improvement. So for me, it's just really how far can I push it? How much more can I improve as an athlete? And what I'm doing now, I'm pushing myself more. I think I'm definitely improving as an athlete. And then whatever comes after that is a big bonus. So what motivates me now is the hunger to compete and the hunger to improve. And I actually like, even though it's hard, as I said 2 weeks in, I was like, what am I doing here? I kind of like the athlete lifestyle. It gives me purpose, because when I first went to the gym, I never went to kind of be a champion. I like the fitness. I like kind of looking after.
Just when it feels like the AJ, Eddie's segment has already said everything, the camera shifts again, and the story quietly sharpens. We leave the press rooms and promotional chessboards and step into the gym, where words don't linger and reality responds with force. Lawrence Oakley enters the frame, and suddenly the Jake Paul conversation stops being theoretical. It's immediately clear this wasn't a favor session or influencer sightseeing. This was real work with real professionals. Oakley admits he walked in expecting Jake to be soft, someone he could outwork and dismiss quickly. Instead, he walked out questioning himself, wondering why a single round forced him into self-reflection. That isn't marketing. That's a professional heavyweight being checked by unexpected resistance. And the moment Jake showed he could actually make him miss, Oakley turned the intensity all the way up. No friendly rounds. No easing in. That reaction says everything. Jake wasn't protected. He stayed in because he earned respect. Does that make him ready for Anthony Joshua? Of course not. But it does mean he isn't a prop stepping into the ring either. And that reality makes this matchup far more uncomfortable than many people want to admit.
Your perception of him before you went in camp and sparred him, and what's it now?
I thought he would be soft, if I'm honest with you. I thought he'd be soft. Nah, doesn't want to be in here, doesn't want this, isn't good enough, isn't whatever. And then by the time we left, the opposite. I think he's got big balls. I think he's game. I think he's I want to see him do well because he puts in the work. That's it in a nutshell. I think it's a huge ask. AJ is a massive guy, a very experienced guy, two-time heavyweight world champion. Like, for boxing, the boxer would be is like, you can't. Surely you can't let this guy come.
Here's where the honesty matters. Oakley's respect for Jake is real, but so is his understanding of what happens when heavyweight reality arrives on schedule. He keeps stressing it. Size matters. Experience matters. Precision matters. And Anthony Joshua represents all three in one calm, formidable package. Oakley doesn't want a one-round anticlimax, not because he doubts Joshua, but because he wants the story to carry weight. And that's the irony at the center of this fight. Jake is trying to prove that belief and effort can bridge the gap. AJ is proving that no matter how hard you grind, some levels simply can't be skipped. One man is hoping to shock the world. The other is prepared to remind it. When someone who has shared rounds with both fighters says Jake is brave and improving, but still standing across from a two-time heavyweight champion, that isn't disrespect. That's perspective. So when the bell rings, this isn't a joke. It's a lesson. The only question is whether it's delivered quickly or lingers long enough to fuel debate all weekend.
Go in there and showcase what, hard work and belief can do. If our WBO world champion could come from white collar to be heavyweight world champion, then why can't Jake Paul be competitive with AJ?
How many rounds did you do with him? Do you remember?
We're doing because he had Jared as well, so we were doing 3 to 6 every other day. So I don't know, probably 30 something like that, 30 something rounds maybe.
You can see the desire to watch Jake step in, execute his plan, and show what belief and work ethic can produce. If a WBO world champion could rise from a white-collar background to heavyweight glory, why couldn't Jake Paul at least be competitive? In terms of preparation, the numbers tell a clear story. Working with Jared as well, they were logging anywhere from 3 to 6 rounds every other day, adding up to more than 30 rounds in total. Step back and take it all in. The press conference tension. AJ's icy calm. Eddie is quietly mapping the long game, and Lawrence Oakley exposing the real work done behind closed doors. Suddenly, this fight stops feeling like a viral stunt and starts looking like a genuine crossroads. Jake Paul isn't foolish for believing, and he isn't stepping in unprepared. But Anthony Joshua isn't guessing, hoping, or selling confidence. He's operating on years of experience, structure, and habits forged at the highest level of the sport. This isn't hype versus hate. It's ambition versus accumulated skill. Confidence versus repetition. Momentum versus muscle memory. That's why this matchup divides opinion. Some are tuning in hoping to witness one of the greatest modern upsets. The night belief rewrites the narrative. Others are watching to see boxing reassert its hierarchy, to witness what happens when preparation meets opportunity and refuses to blink. There's no middle ground, and that's exactly what makes it compelling.
And we had that, then we sparred, do you know what I mean? And I went all out, and then we just kept that same energy throughout camp. So that day I might have caught him off guard, you know, with just the intensity that I was coming with, but it wasn't any particular punch that I remember like, ooh, that one did it. It was just, I was just really on him that day. And then, like I said, he came back and then he leveled up from that one. And then from there, the coaches started coming up to me like, saying, we need that. We need you to, I need that. And I was thinking, like, fair enough. Like, if you need that, I'm going to keep